Hello, everybody. So, I have not been able to do any written material for a bit, and I thought I might make another video before I have to clean up my room. And I wanted to talk to you about some understanding, some conceptions and misconceptions about using self preservation um, and being trained in self preservation in an effective manner, and how that gets sort of miscommunicated in the martial arts, uh, and actually as a general rule. Okay, one of the first things is this idea that a technique is too dangerous to practice with live resistance. If somebody has a dodge and they tell you, "I can't really show this technique to you because it's too dangerous, you might kill somebody," that gets kind of miscommunicated and put upon people who legitimately are training in techniques that are extremely dangerous. Okay, there are ways to practice them, but there is some truth to the fact that you cannot necessarily practice them in a sparring context. They don't really apply. Okay, and I'll talk about that as well. It's not so much that they're too dangerous. It's more that they don't really apply, because when people are fighting in a situation where things have become more than just a social status, um, a fight about honor or a fight about dominance or a fight about privilege, it's now a fight for your life. You move differently and respond differently. So it's a different set of circumstances. Good example would be if you take a great golfer and a great baseball player. They both have an incredible swing if they're a good hitter. Um, and being that's true, you can't really put them in the opposite sport because golf is different than baseball, right? So it's a similar thing when we talk about martial arts training and training in two different training environments. Um, there's certain amount of overlay. It's always very good experience for younger people before you hit 40, I would say, to get in there and mix it up and get a sense of what it feels like to get into a scrap. Taking it slowly at first or just hammer and tongs right away. Whatever. It's a good thing. It can only be helpful to you. If you do that to a point where it becomes a bad habit and you develop bad habits, then it becomes counterproductive. And if you do it as a sport, then you're training for something that's different down the road. And that is true. Whether I know a lot of guys in MMA don't like to hear that. They have this attitude, some of them, that, well, when somebody pulls out a knife, that's it. That's it. No, it doesn't work that way. Um, there are things you can do, and you might be in a situation where you have to do them. And the fact of the matter is there are certain bad habits in the ring that don't apply to that situation. And being in the ring does not automatically guarantee that you'll be able to handle that situation if you don't train for it. So, with that being said, what are some differences between uh, the two approaches: sports, competition, and self preservation? Okay. One of the first ones has to do with distance, and there are a lot of very well intended teachers who really get this wrong. I don't know how else to put it. Your primary understanding when somebody gets close to you is not about blocking a punch or blocking or trying to, in some way, parry their technique. Okay? Your first instinct is this person's too close and to act upon it. You can deflect it or you can attack. There is no room for a block. And if you look at the distance at which most teachers practice blocking punches, they're unrealistic. Somebody who knows how to throw a punch would not throw a punch at that distance in the way that they're being shown. So the first thing to realize is at a distance where somebody can hit you, your training in self preservation is to attack them, to do things reflexively. The hand goes out to the eyes, the throat. Okay? Nothing particular necessarily. Just getting that hand out where it belongs, where it will cause the person to have to respond to that. Taking their distance away from them. Honey, turn that down. Making it so that you're when you are attacking them or dealing with their attack, okay, you take their space away. You make their center move, okay? When somebody's attacking and the shoulder's coming past a certain point, etc., if they can't move their mass, then they can't complete the attack. Very important concept in self-preservation. So all this stuff where you see a lot of blogs, and that doesn't really apply, and it's not realistic. If a guy wants to cold cock you and they're in a place where they can do it, your best defense is to anticipate it by being aware of it and set him up, or to attack him first, or to quickly get out of that area, that space, or to take his space away. Those are your options, period. Now, another misconception that's often bandied about is this idea of fighting on the ground. Fights wind up on the ground. The ground is the worst place to be in an evolving conflict. You can be hit, you can be kicked, and you can lose all control in the situation. So, again, one of the primary considerations in self-preservation is, instead of simply taking an angle, understanding a primary fighting line and understanding that you must always adjust your distance continually in an evolving conflict in order to take an angle or to move properly. So you keep the relationship where it benefits you, and the angle becomes much more effective in that fashion. Also, instead of using these kind of backwards movements, which in a ring work, but in the real situation, you'll just get overpowered because somebody moving forwards can move faster than somebody moving backwards. And this happens in knife attacks a lot. People think they can move back and away or try to create space that way. You can't. There are these big circular movements like you see people do in Aikido. They're very effective for that. You just have to learn how to use them properly because they reorient your entire body, meaning they have to change their fighting line in order to continue attacking you. Okay? Makes a big difference, and it enables you to reset your position properly and counter them if you need to. That's another big one. This idea about going to the ground and how, if it can be avoided, you avoid it by not letting somebody get into that position, watching your distance continually, and setting a person up or creating the right distance for you to be safe and able to attack them where they can't grab you. So, with those things being said, those are some of the main things. There's some other things about reflexive training, training your muscle memory, and things like that. But let's keep this, for now, short and sweet. Take care.